But as the years passed, cracks began to appear in the facade of their perfect life. Chief Adeyemi's business dealings grew increasingly complex and secretive, his absences from home more frequent and prolonged. Adesua had turned a blind eye to the rumors and whispers that followed her husband, choosing to believe in the man she loved rather than face the painful truth. Now, Who Killed My Husband? Episode 1. The Sudden Departure. In the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria, lies the sprawling estate of the esteemed Adeyemi family. At the helm of this dynasty was Chief Debo Adeyemi, a man revered for his wealth, influence, and seemingly unshakable reputation. Chief Debo Adeyemi stood as a testament to his wealth and influence. He was a titan in Lagos, a man whose name commanded respect and whose wealth seemed boundless. He built his empire through shrewd business dealings, navigating the intricate networks of Nigerian politics and commerce with ease. To the outside world, he was a paragon of success, but within the walls of his mansion, his family knew a different man. A man driven by ambition, haunted by his past, and burdened by the weight of his secrets. His family consisted of Adesua, the devoted wife of Chief Debo and the pillar of the family, strong-willed and fiercely protective of her loved ones, a woman whose grace and poise belied the turmoil she endured behind closed doors. Their son Tunde inherited his father's sharp intellect, but struggled to reconcile his ambitions with the expectations placed upon him. The eldest daughter, Kemi, harbored a fierce independence and a desire to break free from the constraints of tradition. And then there was Bola, the youngest daughter, whose quiet strength masked a deep-seated longing for acceptance. Despite her carefree demeanor, Bola harbors a deep-seated resentment towards her father for his neglect and indifference. In the days leading to his death, Chief Adeyemi had been embroiled in a bitter dispute with a rival business magnate over a lucrative government contract. Tensions ran high as accusations flew back and forth, and Chief Adeyemi found himself at the center of a storm of controversy. Some speculated that his sudden demise was a convenient solution to a problem that threatened to tarnish his reputation and undermine his influence. On the fateful day of Mrs. Adeyemi got the sad news of her husband's demise. The night was heavy with the promise of rain as Adesua Adeyemi sat alone in the dimly lit study of their sprawling estate. The soft glow of the lamp cast shadows across the room, highlighting the weariness etched into her features. She glanced at the clock on the wall, the ticking of its hands echoing in the silence of the night. It had been a long day, filled with the usual chaos of managing the household and overseeing the family's affairs. But tonight felt different, a sense of unease lingering in the air like a whisper of impending doom. Adesua couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong, a premonition of tragedy that sent shivers down her spine. Just as she was about to retire for the night, the shrill ring of the telephone pierced the silence, startling her from her thoughts. With a trembling hand, she picked up the receiver, her heart pounding in her chest. "Hello," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mrs. Adeyemi," came the voice on the other end, crackling with static. "This is Dr. Okafor from the hospital. I'm afraid I have some bad news." Adesua's blood ran cold as she listened to the doctor's words, her worst fears realized in an instant. Chief Debo Adeyemi, her beloved husband, had been rushed to the hospital after collapsing at a business meeting earlier that evening. Despite their best efforts, they were unable to save him. He was gone. Tears welled up in Adesua's eyes as she struggled to comprehend the enormity of the loss. Chief Adeyemi, her rock, her confidant, her soulmate, taken from her in the blink of an eye. She felt as though the ground had been ripped out from beneath her feet, leaving her adrift in a sea of grief and disbelief. With a heavy heart, Adesua made the painful call to her children, Tunde, Kemi, and Bola, informing them of their father's passing. Each conversation was a dagger to her heart, their cries of anguish echoing in her ears long after the calls had ended. As the news spread, friends and family descended upon the Adeyemi estate, offering their condolences and support in the wake of Chief Adeyemi's death. Adesua greeted them with a stoic facade, her grief kept carefully hidden beneath a mask of composure. But behind closed doors she crumbled, the weight of her loss threatening to crush her beneath its unbearable burden. She found herself wandering the halls of their home, her footsteps echoing in the empty corridors as she struggled to come to terms with the reality of life without her beloved husband. And so, as the rain began to fall in earnest, Chief Adeyemi sat alone in the study, her heart heavy with sorrow as she mourned the loss of the man who had been her everything. Little did she know that his death was just the beginning of a journey that would take her family to the darkest depths of despair and back again. As Adesua sat in the study, enveloped by the darkness of the night and the weight of her grief, she couldn't help but reflect on the life she had shared with Chief Adeyemi. Memories flooded her mind like a torrential downpour, each one a bittersweet reminder of the love they had shared and the dreams they had built together. She remembered their early days as newlyweds, filled with laughter and joy as they navigated the challenges of marriage and parenthood. Chief Adeyemi had been a devoted husband and father, his presence a constant source of strength and support for Adesua and their children. But as the years passed, cracks began to appear in the facade of their perfect life. Chief Adeyemi's business dealings grew increasingly complex and secretive, his absences from home more frequent and prolonged. Adesua had turned a blind eye to the rumors and whispers that followed her husband, choosing to believe in the man she loved rather than face the painful truth. Now as she sat alone in the study, surrounded by the trappings of their life together, Adesua couldn't help but wonder what secrets Chief Adeyemi had taken to his grave. What had driven him to keep his affairs hidden from his family, and what other betrayals lay buried beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed. With a heavy heart, Adesua rose from her chair and made her way to the bedroom she had shared with Chief Adeyemi for so many years. The room felt empty and devoid of life, the absence of her husband's presence like a gaping wound in her heart. As she lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling through tear-filled eyes, Adesua made a silent vow to uncover the truth about Chief Adeyemi's secrets. She owed it to herself and her children to unravel the tangled web of lies and deceit that had cast a shadow over their lives for far too long. And so, as the rain continued to fall outside, Adesua Adeyemi closed her eyes and drifted into a fitful sleep, her dreams haunted by the specter of her husband's departure. Little did she know that the journey she was about to embark on would test her strength and resilience in ways she could never have imagined. The following morning dawned grey and somber, the rain still falling in a steady rhythm that matched the heaviness in Adesua's heart. As she emerged from fitful slumber, the reality of Chief Adeyemi's absence hit her with renewed force, washing over her like a tidal wave of grief. Determined to face the day, Adesua rose from her bed and made her way downstairs to the kitchen, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the scent of rain-soaked earth. It was a familiar comfort in the midst of chaos, a small beacon of normalcy in an otherwise tumultuous time. As she sipped her coffee, Adesua's thoughts turned to her children, Tunde, Kemi and Bola. She knew that they too were struggling to come to terms with their father's death, each grappling with their own emotions in their own way. With a heavy sigh, Adesua resolved to be strong for her children, to provide them with the love and support they needed to navigate the turbulent waters ahead. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and obstacles, but she also knew that they would weather the storm together as a family. Just as Adesua was steeling herself for the day ahead, the sound of the doorbell echoed through the house, signaling the arrival of their first visitor. With a weary heart, she made her way to the door, her footsteps heavy with the weight of grief. Standing on the doorstep was Mrs. Okafor, a longtime family friend and confidant. Her eyes were red-rimmed with tears, her expression one of sorrow and sympathy as she reached out to embrace Adesua in a tight hug. "I heard about Debo," Mrs. Okafor said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry, my dear. He was a good man, a true gentleman." Adesua nodded, her own tears threatening to spill over as she clung to Mrs. Okafor for support. In that moment, she felt a surge of gratitude for the friends and family who had rallied around them in their time of need, their presence a source of solace and strength amidst the chaos. As the day wore on, more visitors arrived at the Adeyemi estate, each one offering their condolences and support to the grieving family. Adesua greeted them all with a weary smile, her heart heavy with sorrow but buoyed by the outpouring of love and kindness from those who cared for them. But amidst the somber atmosphere, there was an undercurrent of tension, a sense that something was amiss, lurking beneath the surface like a dark shadow waiting to be revealed. Adesua couldn't shake the feeling that Chief Adeyemi's death was more than just a tragic accident, that there was something sinister at play, something that threatened to tear their family apart. As the rain continued to fall outside, Adesua couldn't help but wonder what secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life. And as the days stretched into weeks and the weeks into months, she resolved to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. For the sake of her children, for the sake of their future, she would stop at nothing to unravel the mystery of Chief Adeyemi's sudden departure. As days turned into weeks, the Adeyemi household settled into a new rhythm, albeit one shrouded in the lingering haze of grief. Adesua Adeyemi, once the epitome of grace and poise, found herself navigating each day with a heavy heart and a mind clouded by uncertainty. Tunde, the eldest of the Adeyemi children, threw himself into his work, seeking solace in the familiar routines of his career. As a rising star in the world of finance, he buried himself in spreadsheets and meetings, using the demands of his job as a distraction from the pain of his father's passing. Kemi, the middle child, found refuge in the company of her friends, surrounding herself with laughter and chatter in an attempt to drown out the deafening silence that echoed through the empty halls of the estate. But beneath her cheerful facade lay a deep well of sorrow, her heart heavy with the weight of unanswered questions and unspoken truths. And then there was Bola, the youngest of the Adeyemi siblings, whose vibrant spirit seemed to dim with each passing day. Once the life of the party, she withdrew into herself, retreating into the sanctuary of her room where she could escape the prying eyes of the outside world. As for Adesua, she busied herself with the minutiae of daily life, finding solace in the mundane tasks that filled her days. But beneath her calm exterior lay a storm of emotions, anger, sadness, and above all, a gnawing sense of unease that refused to be ignored. It was on one such day, as Adesua sat alone in the study poring over Chief Adeyemi's financial records, that she stumbled upon something that sent a shiver down her spine. Hidden among the neatly organized folders and documents was a series of transactions that seemed to defy explanation, large sums of money transferred to offshore accounts, cryptic notes scribbled in the margins, and a web of connections that stretched far beyond the confines of their small corner of the world. With trembling hands, Adesua sifted through the evidence, her mind racing with the possibilities. Could it be that Chief Adeyemi's death was not the result of a tragic accident, but rather the culmination of a sinister plot, one that had been years in the making? As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Adesua felt a surge of determination coursing through her veins. She knew that she couldn't face this alone, that she needed the support of her children now more than ever, if they were to uncover the truth behind Chief Adeyemi's sudden departure. With a sense of purpose that had been absent since her husband's death, Adesua made her way to Tunde's office, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew that she was about to embark on a journey that would test their family's bonds in ways they could never have imagined. But she also knew that it was a journey they had to take, no matter the cost. And so, as the rain continued to fall outside, Adesua Adeyemi stood on the threshold of a new beginning, her resolve steeled by the knowledge that the truth, however painful, was the only path to healing. Little did she know that their quest for answers would lead them down a dark and twisted path, one that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their family, their legacy, and the true meaning of love and loyalty. As Adesua approached Tunde's office, her steps faltered for a moment, a sudden wave of uncertainty washing over her. She paused, her hand hovering over the doorknob, her mind racing with doubts and fears. What if Tunde didn't believe her? What if he dismissed her suspicions as the ramblings of a grieving widow? What if confronting the truth tore their family apart irreparably? But then she remembered the look of determination in Chief Adeyemi's eyes, the same look that had drawn her to him all those years ago. She thought of their children, Tunde, Kemi and Bola, and the strength and resilience they had inherited from their father. With a deep breath, Adesua pushed open the door and stepped into Tunde's office, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. Tunde looked up from his desk as his mother entered, a furrow of concern creasing his brow. "Mom, what are you doing here?" he asked, rising from his chair to greet her. Adesua took a moment to compose herself before speaking. "Tunde, I need to talk to you," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor of nerves that ran through her. Tunde's expression softened, concern flickering in his eyes. "Of course, Mom. What's wrong?" he asked, gesturing for her to take a seat. Adesua settled into the chair opposite Tunde's desk, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She took a moment to gather her thoughts before speaking, choosing her words carefully. "Tunde, I've been going through your father's financial records," she began, her voice barely above a whisper, "and I found something troubling." Tunde's brow furrowed in confusion. "What do you mean?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. Adesua took a deep breath, steeling herself for the difficult conversation that lay ahead. "I've discovered a series of transactions that, well, they don't add up," she explained, her gaze steady as she met Tunde's eyes. "Large sums of money transferred to offshore accounts, cryptic notes scribbled in the margins. It's all very suspicious." Tunde's eyes widened in shock as he processed his mother's words. "Are you saying you think Dad was involved in something illegal?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. Adesua hesitated, the weight of her words hanging heavy in the air between them. "I don't know what to think, Tunde," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper, "but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to your father's death than meets the eye." Tunde's mind raced as he tried to make sense of his mother's words. Could it be true? Could his father, the man he had always looked up to and admired, have been involved in something so sinister? But as he looked into his mother's eyes, he saw the truth reflected back at him, the same truth that had guided their family through countless trials and tribulations over the years. "We need to find out what really happened to Dad," Tunde said, his voice firm with resolve. "No matter what it takes." And with that, mother and son made a silent vow to uncover the truth behind Chief Adeyemi's sudden departure, no matter the cost. Little did they know that their quest for answers would lead them down a dark and twisted path, one that would test their family's bonds in ways they could never have imagined. But they were determined to see it through, for the sake of their family, their legacy, and the truth that lay hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life. As Adesua and Tunde delved deeper into their investigation, they found themselves ensnared in a web of deception and intrigue that seemed to stretch far beyond the confines of their own lives. They pored over Chief Adeyemi's financial records with a meticulousness born of desperation, searching for any clue that might shed light on his mysterious dealings. As they sifted through mountains of paperwork and deciphered cryptic codes, they discovered a pattern of transactions that defied explanation. Large sums of money being transferred between various accounts, offshore investments in companies with dubious reputations, and a trail of breadcrumbs that seemed to lead nowhere. With each new revelation, Adesua and Tunde's determination grew stronger, their resolve to uncover the truth unshakable. But as they followed the trail of clues deeper into the heart of darkness, they found themselves facing obstacles at every turn, obstacles that threatened to derail their quest for answers and tear their family apart. Meanwhile, Kemi and Bola watched from the sidelines, their hearts heavy with worry for their mother and brother. They longed to help in any way they could, but they couldn't shake the feeling of helplessness that gnawed at their insides. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Adesua and Tunde's investigation led them down a path fraught with danger and betrayal. They encountered shady characters with hidden agendas, faced threats from unknown sources, and found themselves caught in a tangled web of lies and deceit that seemed impossible to escape. But through it all, they remained steadfast in their determination to uncover the truth. They refused to be intimidated by the forces working against them, drawing strength from the love and support of their family and friends. And then, just when they thought they had reached a dead end, they stumbled upon a clue that would change everything. A single piece of evidence that would unravel the tangled web of lies and deceit and reveal the shocking truth behind Chief Adeyemi's sudden departure. With newfound hope in their hearts, Adesua and Tunde pressed on, determined to see their investigation through to the end. Little did they know that the truth they sought would be more shocking and devastating than anything they could have ever imagined, shaking the foundations of their family to its core and changing their lives forever. This story continues. Watch out for episode 2. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share and press the notification button for more interesting and captivating stories. See you in the next episode too.